Shabbat Shalom, welcome back. We're going to continue our study that we started earlier with Daniel chapter 2. We looked at Daniel chapter 1 last night, and we started Daniel chapter 2 at 11 o'clock this morning, and now we're continuing in Daniel chapter 2. So when we looked at Daniel chapter 2 the last time, when we studied Daniel 2, we saw that Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had a dream that bothered him because he forgot it. He knew he had an important dream and he couldn't sleep as a result of it, and he forgot the dream. So he woke up and he called his magicians, his astrologers, his spiritual people to not only tell him what he dreamt, but to give him the interpretation of what he dreamt, because he felt like it was something important. Now, they could not do it. They could not tell him what he dreamt, and they kept trying to stall him. And then that just made him mad until he decided to kill all the people of spiritual people in Babylon, his spiritual advisors. He decided to kill all of them. Okay. Now, when he sent his guards out to do that, now Daniel and Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah weren't there when he called the magicians initially. So they had no idea what was going on. All they saw was the guards coming out with swords to kill them. And so Daniel asked what was going on, and they told him. So let's take it up from there. We kind of went through that lesson, but let's take it up from there. Okay, so let's go from verse 12 of Daniel chapter 2. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would show the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire the mercies of the Most High of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the wise men of Babylon. So here, Daniel is told what's going on. Daniel requests, Shabbat Shalom, Daniel requests that he go to the king and talk to the king about this. King brings him in. Daniel said, give me time. I'll give you your dream and interpretation. King says, let's give this brother time. Now, just as a side note, I want to take note that Daniel, now, everybody in the kingdom is waiting for this answer, because their lives are at stake. Remember, Nebuchadnezzar, kill all of them. He sent that decree, kill all of them. And now if Daniel cannot do this, all of them die. If Daniel does do this, all of them live. So that the fate of the wise men of Babylon was actually in the hands of Daniel. Daniel's ability to connect with his God, and his God's revealing to Daniel this secret. And I want to tell you something. Right now, the world does not realize it. They do not realize it. But their fate is in the hands of the 144,000 connecting with their God. We're going to talk more about this as we go through Daniel. The world does not realize it. Fate is not in the hands of global warming. It is not in the hands of any president. It is not in the hands of natural wildfires. The fate of this planet is in the hands of the connection of the 144,000 with their God. As we get closer to the destruction of this planet, and that's what's coming, people will begin more clearly to realize this. Some people will begin more clearly to realize this. So let's continue reading Daniel chapter 2. beginning at verse 17. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire the mercies of the Most High Heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Verse 19. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the Most High of Heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of Yah forever and ever. For wisdom and might are his. He changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what's in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou Most High of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might, and has made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For thou hast made known unto us, for thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, and whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will show the king the interpretation. So now there's an answer given in the night vision, in the night when the Most High talks to his servants. Sometimes he gives us impressions at different odd times, at any time. But many times while we are sleeping, the Bible says he sealeth our instruction. In the book of Job, it tells us that he opens our ears and sealeth our instruction. So that's what he did with Daniel. They prayed and they sought the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Notice he said the God of his fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they sought him. And in the night visions, in the night dreams, the Most High revealed to Daniel the dream and the interpretation. Okay, let's continue. Daniel's going to say some very important things going forward. That's why I'm going to take my time here. He's saying some very important things that go not only at the time of Daniel, which it does, it goes past that time, which to us now is historical because it's already passed, and it comes all the way to now and goes just ahead of us. So all that time is covered from this time of Daniel. So you're talking about a time period. At this point, a time period that's like 3,000 years, 2,500 years, somewhere in that vicinity, a long time period that these prophecy is going to cover. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Daniel chapter 2, verse 25. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste and said thus unto him, I have found a man among the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. Obviously, this would please the king. Obviously, he would be excited. And obviously, Arioch and all the people of Babylon knew how important this was, that somebody had this dream. So he rushed Daniel in there. I found one among the captives of Judah. I found one among the captives of Judah that's going to make known to the king the dream and the interpretation. I found one among the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The captives of Judah. Verse 26. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof? He couldn't believe it. Verse 27. Daniel answered and said in the presence of the king, watch this, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. So let's stop here for a second. What did Daniel say? There is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets. Now, in the last time, we looked at Amos chapter 3. Let's just look at it one more time. Let's look at Amos 3. This time, we just read verse 7. Amos chapter 3, verse 7. Look at this now. Amos chapter 3 and verse 7. Notice what it says. Surely the Most High Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. He said, Daniel said to him, the wise men and the astrologers and the soothsayers, they're not going to be able to do this because this is from the Most High. And he reveals his secrets to his servants, the prophets. Let me tell you something. Not every dream comes from the Most High. Asatan gives people dreams, and then he interprets them too. The difference between Asatan and the Most High, though, is Most High's dream, his word is also in harmony with this Bible. See, he told the people, you're going to get people that have dreams, and they're going to tell you to do, and he said the dream's going to come to pass. He said, but watch, let's look at it. Deuteronomy, back to Deuteronomy, chapter 13. Deuteronomy chapter 13. I'm going to begin at verse 1, Deuteronomy chapter 13. I'm going to go from verse 1 down to verse 8. If there arise among you, now this is among even the children of Israel, right? Daniel was dealing with Babylonians. This is even among the children of Israel, right? If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, that is, they have a dream, they're shown something, and it happens as they saw it, right? Whereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods which thou hast not known, let us serve them. So somebody has a dream, it comes to pass. They tell you the future accurately. But while they're telling you that, they're also instructing you there's another God that you need to serve aside from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahweh, your Most High, proveth you to know whether ye love Yahweh, your Most High, with all your heart and with all your soul. So sometimes he'll allow the devil to give a man a dream or a woman a dream, and it will come to pass. And he's doing it to show you it's not important whether it come to pass as much as it's important to obey the commandments of your God. So even sometimes he's allowed us to be hungry, to test us, to see if in the midst of our hunger, we're going to keep serving him or not. This is important. The Bible says in Psalm 138, he has magnified his word above all his name. The whole point of this battle on planet Earth is the enemy, the spirit of evil, is calling the creator a liar. He's saying the creator's a liar. A liar is a person whose word is false. Listen carefully. A liar is a person or an entity whose word is false. So the Most High said, you're going to die. Asatan said, you're not going to die. The Most High said, he is the only true God. Asatan said, no, you can be a God. Somebody's lying. So the Most High said, he demands that those that are his trust his word above everything. No matter what you experience, no matter what you see, no matter what somebody tells you, no matter what, his word above everything. So he said, if the prophet dreams a dream, if this man say he dream a dream and it comes to pass and he tells you worship another God, reject him. No matter if it comes to pass, reject him because I'm testing you. Look at, thou shalt not hearken to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh, your Most High, proveth you to know whether you love Yahweh, your Most High, with all your heart, with all your soul. In a battle where the enemy is telling us that the creator's a liar, the creator needs to know that we believe he's not a liar, that no matter what we see, we are trusting his word above all. Ye shall walk after Yahweh your Most High, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death. This is if we're in the land. See, we're not in the land now, so we can't put nobody to death for that. But when we was in the land, this is what he said. Because he had spoken to turn you away from Yahweh your Most High, which brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which Yahweh thy Most High commanded thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. Brothers and sisters, it's more important to the Most High, and you're going to learn this, we study Daniel, than anything else, that we obey his word. More important. And that's why, in order to be obedient, he instructs us. We need his spirit. See, in this flesh, we can't do nothing right. If just left to the flesh and desire and discipline, you can accomplish some things, but you can't be obedient to the Most High. This is a spiritual war. It's a spiritual war. It's above flesh. So you need spirit to win. Well, whose spirit? You want to serve the creator of this word? His spirit is what you need. You need his spirit. Okay? Notice again. Verse 5. Wait, no, verse 6. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or the son of thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is as thine own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy father, namely the gods of the people round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto them, nor hearken unto him. Neither shall thine eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him. In this war, Yah demands complete loyalty to him, not to a man, to him, to his spirit, to his perfect righteousness, to his word. Complete loyalty. This is it. Okay, complete loyalty to his word. He says he is the only true God. Matter of fact, he said there is no other God. I know not any. That's what he said. I'm not making that up. Back to Isaiah again. Notice back to Isaiah again. Isaiah chapter 44 again. We was in 44 last night. Isaiah chapter 44. Notice what it says. From verse 6 to verse 8. Isaiah chapter 44, from verse 6 to verse 8. Notice what it says. Thus saith Yahweh, King of Israel, and his Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts. I am the first, and I am the last. Beside me, there is no God. And who, as I, shall call and shall declare it and set it in order before me, since I formed the ancient people? And things that are coming and shall come, let them show unto them. Fear not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from the time and have declared it? Ye are even my witnesses. Is there a God beside me? Yea, there is no God. I know not any. See, Messiah represents the Most High, but the Most High is God. There's no other. There's only one. It's the Most High Yah. Messiah, Yahushua, is his representation. It's his will made flesh. That's the Yahushua. But Yahushua says that Yah is his God. Yahweh says, my God, he said. I go to your God and my God. That's what he said. Now, Yahushua, Messiah, he could be worshipped, obviously, because people have bowed to him, like Joshua did, because he's representing Father. He's the firstborn, the first fruit. He represents Father. But Father is above all. And Messiah said, pray to your Father. Many times in the Bible, he said, pray to your Father. And he said, in my name, pray to your Father. Okay? So Daniel said to Nebuchadnezzar, your astrologers and soothsayers couldn't get this one because there's a God in heaven. And he reveals secrets. Now, he didn't have to go into the whole thing, but what we already saw, he reveals secrets to his servants, Israelite, the prophets. He reveals secrets to his servants. Okay? Let's continue. Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2. Verse 27 and 28 again. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. Now he's going to go into the dream. But watch what he does. Before he even goes into the dream, watch what he says. Verse 29. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed. What should come to pass hereafter? and he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. Not only was he going to tell Nebuchadnezzar what he dreamt, he's telling Nebuchadnezzar, this is what you was thinking before you went to sleep. Think about that. He not only is telling Nebuchadnezzar what he dreamt, he's telling him, this is what you were thinking before you fell asleep. You were thinking about what's going to happen in the future. That's what he said. What should come to pass hereafter. He said, before you fell asleep last night, you were thinking about what should come to pass hereafter. You're thinking about the future. Okay, so he's telling him what he was thinking. Verse 30. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. So now, what is he talking about? Remember, this dream concerns the latter days. This is where we live. It concerns the latter days. So he says, for their sakes. And he's also letting Nebuchadnezzar know, which is going to be hard for Nebuchadnezzar. Because when you're a heathen, or you are under the influence of heathens, as we have been, you are into the devil's main doctrine. You're into his main doctrine. What is his main doctrine? Well, it's twofold. His main doctrine is you can be a god. That's what he told Eve. The reason he don't want you eating this tree because he knows you could be a god. That's one of his main doctrines. Man could be God. And remember, man was made on the 6th day. That's why you got 666. It's the sign of man. And that's what it says, actually. If you actually read Revelation 13, it says it's the sign of a man, 666. Because man was made on the 6th day. So he tells the man, you could be God. Make up your own religion. You are God. Why does he do that? Because by telling man he could be God, he's receiving a doctrine from Asatan. And receiving doctrine from Asatan means you worshiping Asatan. You are his disciple. You're his disciple when you receive his doctrine. The second doctrine he gave, you shall not surely die. That's what he told him. You're not going to die. He knows when you eat this tree, you're going to be a god. He's trying to stop you from being a god. You're not going to die. See, I picture him eating the fruit. Why? Because the Bible said the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was a tree to be desired to make one wise. She saw it was good for food. Okay? How she see it was good for food? He's eating it. It's like when I first started smoking weed, like I don't smoke weed now. And I'm not trying to down anybody that smokes weed. I don't smoke it now. But when I first started smoking, you know how I started smoking weed? I remember I was 16 years old, right? And there was this dude, I won't say his name because the world's too small, but he was a big, strong, muscular dude, football player, football star, and one of our fellas. And I always respected my body. I always wanted to keep my body clean and strong. And I respected him because he was not only the football star, but he was, he could lift weights and he was big and strong. And I knew that he took care of himself, right? So we was hanging out one day and my boys pulled out some weed and they started smoking it. And I saw him smoking. I said to him, bro, you smoking that? He said, man, he said, it's good for you. He said, there's no problem with it. And when I saw him smoke it, I said, well, Dad, look how strong he is. And he takes care of himself. If he smoke it, it must not be bad for me. And that's what caused me to smoke it. I said, okay, give me some. Okay. And I see that happen to Eve. He's eating the fruit. This fruit, no, you're not surely going to die. And she said, oh, I see it's good for food. Okay. So when he told her she's not going to die, that's when you get people thinking now, oh, he just died. He's down. Look, Kobe's looking down on us. Kobe's looking down on us. Kobe died and he's looking down on us and he's thankful and he's being glad for us. That's where that comes from. Okay? That's where that comes from. You shall not surely die. We can't accept that somebody ceased to exist. We can't accept that. That's hard for us to accept, that somebody ceases to exist. But the Most High said to Adam, dust you are, and unto dust you shall return. That's what he said to Adam. He said, dust you are, and unto dust you shall return. Adam ceased to exist. Now, the resurrection is about bringing people back into existence that ceased to exist. So that when Ezekiel is looking at a valley full of dead bones, those people did not exist. And the Most High said, prophecy to the bones, Ezekiel. And the wind, which is representing his spirit, blew on the bone. And the bone came together with bone and stood up. And he said, prophesy again. And he prophesied, and the wind put breath in those bones. And he said, these bones are the whole house of Israel. That's the first resurrection. That's the first resurrection right there. Because he's bringing back into existence what didn't exist. Adam ceased to exist. And of the wicked, he says, they shall be as though they had not been. Talked about the Edomites and Obadiah. He said they're going to drink down his cup of fury, and they're going to be as though they had not been, as though they never existed. But we can't accept that because we believe the devil's lie. You shall not surely die. We can't accept that. People cannot accept. If I say Kobe Bryant looking down from heaven, he dead. He don't know anything. He can't see you. People think I'm being mean because Kobe was loved, right? He's loved. So people think I'm being mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just telling you what it is. Him and his beautiful daughter are dead. They're not looking down from heaven at us. If he was faithful to the Creator, he will be brought back into existence. And his daughter too. But that's not for me to judge. I don't know. That's for the Most High to judge. Because I didn't know Kobe. I didn't know him. I never met him. I didn't eat with him. I never talked to him. So I don't know him. But I do know he's dead. And his daughter too. And I do know they're not living up in the sky looking down on us. Because the Bible said, dust you are, and to dust you shall return. Okay? So, Daniel is getting ready to show Nebuchadnezzar what he dreamt because of where we live in the future. Daniel chapter 2. And he's letting Nebuchadnezzar know, I'm not special, but there's a God in heaven that is special. Because Nebuchadnezzar getting ready to worship Daniel. Because that's what heathen do. They worship man. And Daniel trying to head it off at the pass and says, not because of me. There's a God in heaven, the Israelite God. He revealed his secrets to his servants, the prophets. Like Jeremiah. Nebuchadnezzar was familiar with Jeremiah. He knew Jeremiah. Or should I say he knew of Jeremiah. And respected him. Okay, so Nebuchadnezzar was familiar with some of the Israelite prophets, and Daniel's trying to tell him this is from the Israelite prophets. The Most High revealed his secret to us, but it's not because of us, it's because of him. But Nebuchadnezzar, again, people going to do what they used to doing. If you used to giving man glory, you're going to give man glory. Daniel chapter 2, verse 30. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. So the first thing he tells Nebuchadnezzar, you were thinking about the future before you went to sleep. When you went to sleep, you saw a big image. You saw a great image. That's what you saw. Can you imagine now? Nebuchadnezzar is listening. Imagine if it was you. This young man, and Daniel was a teenager at the time. This young man is telling you, this is what you were thinking before you went to bed. And you said, you know what? That's right. I was thinking that before I went to bed. And then the first year, you saw this great image. And then it comes to you. That's right. I remember now. I saw a great image. I did see that. Okay? You can imagine now, if it was you, you'd be getting excited now, right? It's like this. You know, you have a dream. Like I said, I've had dreams where I woke up and I forgot the dream. And it's frustrating. So what did I just do? I knew it was important. And then later on, something will happen. And I was like, oh, shoot. Like I could tell you real quick, it happened this week. It's a stupid thing, right? I was watching because, all right, I sometimes watch clips of The Sopranos. I do. I see. I'm not ashamed to show you how frail I am because I'm trying to tell you, if the Most High could save me, He could save you too. If He can give me His Spirit, He can give it to you too. So I watch clips because it makes me laugh. Watching them Italians in Jersey reminds me of the Italians I grew up with on Long Island. So I had a dream, but I forgot the dream until this happened. So I had a dream, and in my dream, a dude came to me to shake me down for $270, like it was almost like protection money or something. And in the dream, something told me just pay him the money, right? So I said, okay, I just paid the money, and that was dream. And I forgot the dream. When I woke up, I forgot the dream. This was Thursday night, right? It doesn't always happen this fast, but I'm just giving you an example because it did happen this fast this week. So Friday, I got up and I worked from home. So I was working from home, and also it was payday, so I was paying bills. And in my bills was a tax bill from the state of Virginia. Apparently, I had gotten some money from an ex-job a few years ago, to make a long story short, and they didn't take out enough state taxes. I thought they did, or they did take out state taxes, but the state of Virginia is saying they didn't take out enough, and you owe us $270. And my wife said, don't pay that. We don't owe them that money. We paid their taxes. And something told me, just pay it. See? So he had given me the dream the night before, and when the bill came, he's already telling me, yeah, they're shaking you down, just pay it. You understand what I'm saying? Isn't that amazing? And I had forgotten until I saw the 270, then the dream came back to me. I was like, oh, shoot. And I realized, because my first thought was, I don't owe y'all no money. I paid it. But then something say, just pay it. Okay. And so I did. I just paid it. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you forget, and then something will happen, and it'll come back to you, and you remember, oh, shoot, I just dreamt about that. And that's what happened. And that's what happened here. So Nebuchadnezzar had this dream, and he forgot. And now Daniel is telling him, this is what you were thinking, and this is what you first saw. You saw this statue. Oh, shoot, that's right. I did see a statue, right? So now, verse 32. The image's head was of fine gold, his breasts and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass. So he sees this image. The head of the image is made of gold. Okay, see that? Head of the image, gold. Then this part of his body, right? The breast and his arms are silver. Okay, so the head is gold, breast and arms, silver, precious metal, gold, then silver. Okay, gold, then silver, right? Follow carefully. Okay, next, his arms are silver, his belly and his thighs are brass. So from the abdominal area into the thigh area, brass. What do you notice so far about the metals? You see the metals. First there was gold, then there was silver, then there was brass. What do you notice about the metals? That they're becoming less valuable as it gets down into the body. Are you noticing that? Gold is the most valuable. Then silver is the second most valuable. I'm talking about historically speaking. Then there's brass, the third most valuable. You're seeing that, right? I mean, I'm just making sure you'll see it because that's important. So you see the gold, the silver, and the brass. Not only that, notice this too. The metals get harder. Gold is the softest metal. It's the softest one. Then silver. Brass is harder than both gold and silver. So you have the softest one, the second softest one, then the third. So the least hardest, the next hardest, the third hardest. Everybody see that so far? So you have precious one, less precious, even less precious. Soft one, less soft, and more hard. The hardest one, the third one, right? Okay, watch. Verse 33. The legs of iron and the feet part of iron and part of clay. So wait, I'm breaking this down. Bear with me. I know some of y'all might think, why is he taking so much time? You're going to be glad I did later on, okay? So now, the legs, that's under the thighs. That is what we would call the shin and the calf area. Iron. right? Iron. So now, gold, most precious, softest. Silver, second most precious, second softest, so a little harder than the gold. Brass, third most precious and the hardest of the three. Now you get iron, the least valuable and the hardest of them all. Okay? The least valuable and the hardest of them all. Gold, silver, brass, iron. The least valuable and the hardest of them all is the iron. Okay? Now, also notice this. The iron went from the legs all the way into the feet. Now, in the feet was combination of iron and clay. Clay not hard at all, right? And so the mixture is iron and clay in the feet, so that the iron part went from the legs all the way into the toes, right? You can say that, right? All the way into the toes, iron. Okay, and that's the hardest one. And at the end is mixed with clay. Okay, iron and clay mix. Everybody following so far? 1, 2, 3. All right. There's a reason I'm going into this. I want to make sure you're following. So, okay. So 1, 2. Okay, good. All right. Good. Now, so his legs of iron, his feet, part of iron, part of clay. And again, I want you to notice the iron goes all the way into the feet. Notice that. Okay. Now, verse 34. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. So a stone cut out without hands, so that there's no human being involved in the cutting out of this stone. Stone can be cut out of other stone. Isn't that correct? So when somebody's building something out of stone, if they're using like natural stone, they're not making brick out of it. They cut it out of another stone, right? So you cut like our fathers did when they made the pyramids. They cut the stone out of other stone, and they built them pyramids. They didn't use no cement or no nails. That stone was placed on other stone, right? It was cut out. And the same thing with Solomon's temple, because the same people built it. So Solomon's temple was cut stone. They didn't use no nails in Solomon's temple. They didn't use no nails to build that. They just had stone on top of stone, and they fit it together. Everything they put fit together. They had it fit like a puzzle. No nails, no cement. Okay? Because the same people made it. Okay? So here, this stone was cut, but there was no hands involved with the cut. So when you have a situation where something's happening and human hands are not involved, who is doing that? When it's without human hands, who is doing that? And what is the stone that is made without human hands? It is Messiah. Upon this rock or this stone, I'm going to build my church. And the word church is not no denomination, 501c3 corporation. When he said, I'm going to build my church, even though they try to use that verse to justify their illegitimate existence, let me say that again, to justify their illegitimate existence, let me tell you, when he say, this rock, I'm going to build my church. The rock is Messiah. It's cut without hands. And the church is his nation. Look at Acts chapter 7. When Stephen is giving his final testimony, he bearing witness with his life. Stephen said that Israelites, when they were going through the wilderness, was the church in the wilderness. It was the church in the wilderness. See, church means congregation. It means called out congregation. Called out of what? They were called out of Egypt. Called out of Egypt. The rock is Messiah. He said, upon this rock, I'm going to build my nation. He was the rock that was rejected. The chief cornerstone and rejected. And that's why that was our problem. He was a stone of stumbling. He's the rock of offense. Stone of stumbling. Why? Why was he called the stone of stumbling? He caused the Israelite nation to stumble. Why? Because he did not come the way they were expecting him to arrive. They were expecting Messiah to arrive the way we're expecting him to arrive today. See, they're expecting him to come, destroy all the Romans, take over the world for Israel. That's what they expected. He came as a suffering servant to pay the penalty of sin. The Bible says he will save his people from their sins. He came to bring repentance to Israel. Because you cannot enter into the kingdom unless you are spiritually prepared for the kingdom. That's what he was doing to our fathers when he brought them to the wilderness. He wasn't just trying to punish them by making them hungry. He was trying to chastise them to get their souls prepared to dwell in the land so that later on they wouldn't worship other gods. Well, apparently it didn't work, right? But this time, he's preparing us in the spirit to be ready. We're going to dwell in the land where there's perfect righteousness. You can't dwell in the land of perfect righteousness when you walk in there with sin. You can't do it. You can't dwell with perfect angels when you have sin on you. He's not going to have it. So he has given us, through Messiah, the power to obtain his spirit of perfect righteousness, which is the gospel. What is the gospel? It is not that God knows a white Jesus. I can tell you that right now. The gospel is not that God knows a white Jesus. Raise your hand and receive Jesus. No, that's not it. According to the Bible. Let me show you what the Bible says what the gospel is. Notice what it says. See, heathens make up stuff. That's what they do. And the sad thing is they use this word to make up stuff. And they get some of us caught up in this mess. I mean, they just really, it's disgusting. But look, let's look at the gospel. Romans chapter 1, verse 17, 16, and 17 is the Bible definition of the gospel. Notice what it says. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Messiah, for it, the gospel, is the power. Gospel, first of all, is what? Power. Is the power of Yah unto salvation. So the gospel is a power that brings salvation. Unto everyone that believes, the word believe is not the philosophical Greek, our philosophy believe, I agree. No, it's commit. To everyone that's committed, everyone that's all in. To the Jew first. And also to the Greek. To the Israelite first. Why? Because the oracle's committed to us. He ain't give it to nobody else. Then to the Greek. Why to the Greek second? Because they got to get it from us. We get it first. In order for them to get it, we got to get it first. If Paul didn't receive it, they would have never got it. If Peter didn't receive it, Cornelius would have never got it. The angel came to Cornelius and said, go call Kaffa. He's going to tell you what you need to do. Why didn't the angel tell him? Because the angel ain't teaching the heathen nothing. The order of Yah is for the Israelite to teach y'all. He said to the angel, your prayers have been heard. They come for memorial. Go call Kaffa, or the one you call Peter. This is where he lived. Call him, and he's going to teach you what you need to know. To the Hebrew first, because he's got to be the teacher. It's the order of things from the Most High. I didn't make that up. I didn't make the words up. He said it, to the Jew first. Okay. Also, I said verse 17. Watch this now. For therein, that is in the gospel, that is the power of salvation, therein is the righteousness of Yah revealed. So let's go over this. The gospel is a power that reveals the Creator's righteousness in the receiver. That's the gospel. It's a power that reveals the Creator's righteousness through the receiver. For therein is the righteousness of Yah revealed. Yah's righteousness is given to us in his spirit. And so we receive his spirit, we receive his power to reveal him, the highest level of human being. Fear Yah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole man. I know it says whole duty in Ecclesiastes chapter 12. I know it says whole duty, but if you notice, duty is italicized. Them italicized words, mostly they're cool. That's good. Okay. Sometimes the interpreters make a mistake. So then you could tell, take out the word, take out the italicized word and see what it says. This is what it said. Fear Yah and keep his commandments, for this is the whole man. The highest level that mankind can achieve is to be obedient to the Creator. In order to be obedient to the Creator, you need the gospel, which means his spirit will put in you his righteousness. And that righteousness is what causes you to be obedient. Isn't that what he says in Ezekiel? He said, I'll pour my spirit on you and cause you to keep my commandments and statutes, and you shall do my judgments. That's what he said. I'll pour out my spirit on you, and that's what's going to cause you to do it. Okay? So that's the gospel. So it's by a spirit, it's by a Messiah that's not made with hands. So the rock is Messiah. Let's go back to Daniel chapter 2, verse 34. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces. So let's stop here for a second. So you got a statue, okay? Got a statue. If something hits the statue in its feet, okay? If something hits the statue in its feet, what happens to the statue? Just think about that. So you got a statue, and something smashes the feet of the statue so that they crumble to nothing. What happens to the statue? Well, naturally, quite naturally, the statue is going to what? It's going to collapse. Right? So you got a statue, and a stone hits the statue in the feet. Quite naturally, it's not going to levitate, right? It's going to fall. The whole statue is going to fall. Okay. Also, please note, watch now. It hit the statue in the feet where there was both iron and clay. Please note that at the time of the statue getting struck by the stone, there was still iron there. So whatever represents iron, it is there when the stone hits it. Are you following me? It's very important. So whatever represents iron is still in existence when the stone hits it. Are you following me? All right? Very important. Okay, let's go now. Verse 35. As we surmised, verse 35. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that there was no place found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. How much of this earth is Messiah's kingdom going to fill? The whole earth. This earth. Now let's talk about order. Let's talk about order. I've already revealed from the word revealed that say David's going to be king in Jerusalem. Okay, let me give you that scripture real quick. Let me give you that scripture. It's in a couple of places now. Let's look at Ezekiel first, since we right here in Daniel, right next door is Ezekiel. But notice Ezekiel chapter 36. Ezekiel chapter 36. No, not 36, 37. My bad. Ezekiel 37. Right, my bad. Ezekiel 37. I'm going to start at verse 21 and read down to verse 25. Ezekiel 37, 21 to 25. Okay, notice what it says. And say unto them, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I will take of the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. One king shall be king to them all, and they shall no more be two nations. See, because we was northern and southern kingdom. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their most high. And David, my servant, shall be king over them. And they all shall have one shepherd, and they shall also walk in my statutes and observe, my judgments, and observe my statutes and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Okay? Y'all see David over there today? Is David ruling over there today among them state of Israel? I don't think so. David must be the United States. Let's look at Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. Well, David must be the Pope, because that's all that's ruling over there now. Jeremiah chapter 30. It's giving $2 billion of our tax dollars to them every year. Notice Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. I'm going to begin I'm going to start at verse 1. I'm going to start at verse 1. And I'm going to go down to verse 9. Jeremiah 30, 1 to 9. Watch this. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Thus speaketh Yahweh most high of Israel, saying, Write thee, he's telling Jeremiah, all the words that I have spoken unto thee in the book. For lo, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people, Israel. Going to bring their captivity again. From being captives, he's going to reverse that. I'm going to bring again the captivity of my people, Israel and Judah, saith Yahweh. And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. That sounds a lot like we just read in Ezekiel, doesn't it? These are the words that Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. Okay? For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hand on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, because that's what they've been doing to us for 2,000 years. Verse 9. But they shall serve Yahweh their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. There's two witnesses right there. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word be established. There's 2 witnesses. Ezekiel's a witness, and Jeremiah is a witness. Then we got 2 witnesses right there. Ezekiel and Jeremiah. There you go. There's 2 witnesses. Okay. Praise the Most High Yah. So David's going to be raised up to be king over Israel. Messiah is King of Kings. He's going to be king of the whole earth. Messiah is king of the whole earth. David is king of Israel. Messiah is king of the whole earth. And the Father, Yah, is king of the universe. See, that's the order. Father is king of everything. But of this earth, it's Messiah. And of Jerusalem, David. There's an order. Praise the Most High Yah. There's an order. There's an order of things. Revelation, there's a lot, not just 18, Revelation chapter 20, Revelation chapter 19, Revelation chapter 21, Revelation chapter 22. They're all related. All is related. Yes. All that's related. And there's more. Revelation 13. We're going to go into all this today. Not today, but as we study in Daniel. Okay. Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2. So now we see that the stone hits the statue in the feet and became a great mountain that filled the whole earth. Now, verse 36. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof to the king. So remember now, the king asked for 2 things. I need to know what I dreamt, and I need to know what it means. So now Daniel's been given from the Most High what he was thinking before he fell asleep, what he dreamt, and now he's going to tell him what it means. Okay? He was given what he was thinking before he fell asleep, and he told him what he dreamt, and he showed him. Now he's going to tell him what it means. Nebuchadnezzar's now got to be bugging out. He got to be tripping. Because now he's, oh my, that's exactly what I did. Oh my goodness, that's exactly what I saw. Oh my goodness, that's exactly what I was thinking. Now he's tripping. And then now he can't wait. If it was you, right? Come on, man. Tell me the rest. Tell me what this thing means, man. He's anxious now. Okay. Okay, here you go. Here you go. Let me tell you. Verse 36. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Verse 37. Thou, O king, that is you, Nebuchadnezzar, are the king of kings. For the God of heaven had given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. See, so Nebuchadnezzar is a king of kings. The Most High said, I've given him the kingdom. I've given to him the kingdom. Okay. In fact, let's take a look at that where he did it. Jeremiah chapter 27. Jeremiah chapter 27. Notice what it says. Jeremiah 27. Jeremiah chapter 27, beginning at verse 1, and go down to verse 7. Jeremiah 27, beginning at verse 1, and go down to verse 7. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, king of Judah, this came this word unto Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Thus saith Yahweh to me, make thee bonds and yokes, and put them upon thy neck, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon, by the hand of the messengers, which come to Jerusalem, unto Zedekiah, king of Judah, and command them to say unto their masters, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, Thus shall ye say unto your masters, I have made the earth, the man, and the beast that are upon the ground, by my great power and by my outstretched arm, and have given it unto whom it seemed meet unto me. And now have I given all these lands to the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant. And the beasts of the field have I given unto him also to serve him. And all nations shall serve him, and his son, and his son's son, until the very time of his land come. Then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. So he predicted Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar's son, and Nebuchadnezzar's grandson are going to rule the earth, the then known world. That's all the nations that are around Israel at that time, the then known world. Nebuchadnezzar, my servant, is going to rule all of them. See, brothers and sisters, that was ancient Babylon. He also shows us later on in Daniel, modern Babylon is going to rule the earth. Ancient Babylon ruled the earth until they was destroyed by the Most High. After Nebuchadnezzar, they was destroyed by the Most High. Okay? Modern Babylon rules the earth until when? Until they destroyed by the Most High. Okay? Until they destroyed by the Most High. Same thing. See, prophecy is powerful. What you see in the past is what you're going to see in the future. What you saw on the local level in Egypt is going to be worldwide right now. Okay? Daniel chapter 2. So he says, Nebuchadnezzar, you're representing the head of gold. So it tells us a couple of things. Let's go down. Let's read it first. Daniel chapter 2, verse 37 and 38. Daniel 2, 37 and 38. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the fields and the fowls of heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art the head of gold. So he tells Nebuchadnezzar, I've given you everything. I've given you the whole world to rule. You're the head of gold. Now, thinking about this now, Nebuchadnezzar is the head of gold, which means after Nebuchadnezzar, it's going to get worse, right? There's gold, silver, brass, iron, clay, and iron, right? So after Nebuchadnezzar, there's a declension, the declension in the value of the metals. So Nebuchadnezzar is the highest level, but then it starts going down. See, that's why the heathen whore, Revelation 17, the great whore, I'm not saying that to be mean, the Bible calls her a great whore, puts Babylon on their forehead. They're trying to be like Nebuchadnezzar. They're not like Nebuchadnezzar. They're trying to be like Nebuchadnezzar, which is why in Revelation they try to call it, they said, what? Babylon. Got you. But Nebuchadnezzar is the original. After him, there's a declension. After him, there goes the neighborhood. So Babylon is Nebuchadnezzar. Verse 39. After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, And another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. So he's telling Nebuchadnezzar, your kingdom is not going to last forever. Now, Nebuchadnezzar is not going to like that. That's what's going to get us to chapter 3. He's not liking that idea that his kingdom is going to come to an end. No person that has great power ever likes to hear your kingdom and your power is going to come to an end. Nebuchadnezzar did not want to hear that. So he said, Nebuchadnezzar, after you, there's another kingdom inferior to yours, not as powerful as yours, not as valuable as yours, a silver. Then after the silver, a third kingdom that's going to bear rule over all the earth, not as valuable as yours and not as valuable as that. It's going to be a third kingdom, a harder one, brass. Okay, verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron. Watch what he says about this one. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. So the iron is the most violent. The iron is the most destructive. The iron breaks in pieces and bruises. It's not as valuable. It don't have the class that Nebuchadnezzar had. It don't even have the class as the silver. It don't even have the class as the brass. It's the worst one. It's the lowest form. It's the hardest one. The most ruthless one is the iron. I also want you to make note. Again, he's telling us the iron represents the fourth kingdom. Testing 1, 2, 3. Are you hearing this? He said the iron represents the fourth kingdom. Now, the iron was in existence when that stone hit it. So that tells us something. Think about it. The kingdom hasn't been established yet. Messiah has not yet returned. So therefore, as I'm speaking to you, the iron is in power. Think about that. As I'm speaking to you, the kingdom that represents the iron is in power right now, as I'm speaking to you, because we're at the end. So the iron power, whatever it is, exists right now. Think about it. Exists right now. Okay? And it's mixed with clay. Exists right now, and it's mixed with clay. Okay? We're going to talk more about that. Verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. So iron and clay don't mix, but it's like a loose connection. And so they're both going to be ruling at the end, but the strength is the irons. So the iron is really ruling, but the clay is with it. You see what I'm saying? The iron is really ruling stuff, but the clay is with it. Okay? And as the toes of the feet were part of... So wait, as we find out who these nations are, it's not going to be hard for you to know who the clay is. When you find out who the iron is, just think about who is ruling with the iron. That's how you know. Okay, it's not hard at all. Okay, people try to make it all hard. It's not complicated or hard at all. But we're going to see. You're going to be able to see as we go through the scripture. Okay. Verse 42. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. So people that are of the iron going to physically mix with people that are of the clay. Think about that now. Remember this. I'm going to remind you of all this when we actually look at these things. So whoever's in charge now, the powers that be the iron exists right now, and they are trying to mix with the people that represent the clay. They're trying to mix their seeds together. Because they feel like if they can mix their seeds together, they join power together, right? Because they're relatives now. They're related. Okay? But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. That means it's an Israelite kingdom, as we've already seen many places. And as we already know from Revelation, it's an Israelite kingdom. Why? Because the capital is called what? New Jerusalem. And what does it have on the gates? The names of who? the 12 tribes. It's not going to be left to other people. Okay? It's going to be Yah's kingdom and his servant's kingdom, David's people. Okay? Not going to be left to other people. Okay? And it's going to destroy all the kingdoms before. I want you to notice too, please notice that even though the kingdoms have an order, gold, silver, brass, iron, right? While the statue is standing, it's representing time periods, obviously, because you have a time period for the gold, time period for the silver, time period for the brass, and a time period for the iron, right? While the statue is standing in the iron time period, you still have elements of the statue that have gold, silver, and brass in it, right? So whatever the fourth kingdom is, has elements of the three others. Are you following me? Testing 1, 2, 3. So before the kingdom is destroyed, before the whole thing is destroyed, when you're in the time of the iron is standing, right? But it's standing, and it's the foundation of all the other kingdoms of brass and silver and gold. It has elements of those kingdoms within it still, because they're all one statue, okay? Remember that. It's going to be all important as we go later on and start looking these things up, okay? So now, it shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms and shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. The dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Nebuchadnezzar is blown away. He's heard this. He's seen it. And he's tripping. He's blown away. Notice what he does. It's like a heathen. Verse 46. Then Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face and worshipped Daniel. After Daniel told him he wasn't to be worshipped, right? And commanded that they should offer oblation and sweet odors unto him. He treated Daniel like a god. Isn't that what the heathen do with man? When you're impressed with LeBron James, they act like he's a god. Isn't that correct? Somebody win an Oscar, they become a god. Somebody sings some music that touches you, they become a god. Because everybody worshiping the devil's chief doctrine. Man can be God. That's why you have a thing called a celebrity. That's the only reason a celebrity exists, because we exalt it. That's why we exalt it. And media exalts it. It's made like that because that's the devil's chief doctrine. Man can become God. Right? And so Nebuchadnezzar being a heathen, now he wouldn't always be a heathen. You're going to see him get converted in this prophecy of Daniel. He's going to get converted to the Israelite God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's going to get converted. That's why the Most High called him his servants. He ended up getting converted. This Hamite ended up becoming converted. Yes, he did. So he calls him his servant. So, but this is when, he didn't know any better because he's a heathen. So he's going to give, they offering incense and odors to Daniel. He bowed down. Here's the king of Babylon worshiping Daniel. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing, isn't it? Isn't that what the Bible says, though, about us? Let's just read it, right? We'll just read. We're almost done right here. Let's just read it. Revelation chapter 3. Because this is where we live right now. We're in the church of Philadelphia. We're in the 6th church. The 7th church doesn't last that long. It comes and goes real fast. Just like the 7th plague, just like the 7th trumpet, just like the 7th seal, real fast. Very short time. We're in the 6th right now. It's in the 6th one that the 144,000 are developed. Philadelphia. That's where we live right now. Let me show you something about them, though. Watch it. Revelation chapter 3, verse 7. Watch what it says. And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia, right? These things says he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth, and no man shutteth, and no man openeth. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it, for thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Watch verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I'll make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. See how Nebuchadnezzar bowed down to Daniel? These Edomites, when it's too late, they're going to bow down to us. Because that's what heathen do. Even Cornelius, they end up receiving the true gospel. When the Most High sent Peter over there, what did he do? He bowed down and worshiped Peter. Peter had to tell him, stand up, man. I'm a man, just like you. Because that's what heathen do. They worship man. That's the first thing. They worship man. And even in YouTube, right? You ever see a YouTube channel that blows up, right? And people be getting tens of thousands of followers? People acting like they gods now. That's what happens, right? That's what happens. You see it yourself. You see it. I don't care if they talk about health or politics, whatever they're talking about. Sometimes there's this woman showing it behind the people. Whatever it is, when you see them get like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 subscribers, all of a sudden they like, whoo, they're up here. You understand? Because we so work that the heathen, they quick to make a man a god or a woman. But as Israelites, we know there's only one true God. We don't worship anybody except Yah. And we keep covenant with him. Okay? And by his spirit, we obey him and keep covenant with him. That gives him the highest level of glory. Fear Yah and keep his commandments. This is the whole man. Daniel chapter 2, verse 47. The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth, it is that your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many great gifts and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon and the chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. And then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Now, Daniel has power now. You're going to see how he deals with that. But Daniel has power now. He got power. He's the second most powerful man in the whole kingdom now. Okay? We'll see how he deals with that. Now, when we come back, the next time, we're going to show the kingdoms according to the Bible. We're going to show the succession of the kingdoms. We're going to show the kingdoms according to the Bible, and you'll see what kingdoms they are and where they exist today. The Bible will reveal all to us. We will show that the next time we get together and study this word by the grace of the Most High. But until then, please continue to seek the Creator. Continue to remember who his true people are. And if you're among those that are African descendants of slaves, remember who you really are. Remember who your God really is. Serve him. He will bless your way. May he bless your way. Pray for me also. I'm just like a man, like anybody else, can fall just as quickly and easily as anybody else. So pray for me that I be faithful to the Most High, as I'm asking you to be faithful to the Most High by the power of his perfect spirit. Amen.